Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse podcast. This is episode number 192. My name's Adam Patterson. Joining me today, as always, the illustrious Kevin Rakestraw. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm doing okay too, thanks for asking.
No problem.
This week on the show, we have not one, but two dramas lined up. Going the drama route. I feel like we haven't tackled any serious dramas in a while.
It's been a little bit.
So we're going to be talking about James White, which is playing in limited release right now, and we're also going to be talking about Mediterranea, which is playing in limited release as well. That's also on demand right now. Of course, we'll be going over some of what we've been watching on the watch list, movie predictions, new on video on demand, and Blu-ray releases. Let's start things off today with some news items. I don't have a whole lot to talk about as far as news.
Alright.
There's always a lot of news, but I feel like a lot of the stuff is just not even worth mentioning.
Most of it's worthless.
Yeah, a lot of it's just fluff. This is just fluff.
You don't deal with fluff.
You know, there's some Wonder Woman news that came out late this week. There was like some pictures of Gal Gadot and some more cast members were announced, but it was just like, I was just tired, you know? I just didn't feel like writing it down. It's like, I just don't care. I don't care about that. So anyway.
I don't either.
First up, Ridley Scott's Alien Covenant will connect Prometheus to the original 1979 Alien film.
Oh,
and yeah, so this was there was a title treatment that was released earlier this week, and with that title treatment, they also announced that the new Ridley Scott film is going to connect the two movies.
Oh boy,
that's pretty exciting. I mean, I find it funny because I'm pretty sure that originally they never wanted. I think Prometheus was never really supposed to connect to Alien at all. And then through like the rewrites and all of that stuff, I think that they decided, yes, let's make it all connect. And then that ending, which, you know, sealed the deal. They also confirmed that Michael Fassbender will be returning as David, the android.
Oh, is it just going to be his head?
I don't know how they're... Yeah, you can rebuild him, whatever.
I hope they just put it like in a little good jar. Futurama style.
Well, in Alien 3, Bishop was there, and he was pretty much just a head. His body was all jacked up, and he was there. So I don't know. What do you think about this? Is this cool?
I guess.
I didn't hate Prometheus, first of all. So
I thought Prometheus was all right. It really sucks about that ending.
Yeah,
it's such a joke.
Yeah, it felt a little heavy-handed, that ending. It felt a little too fan servicey because it didn't make sense. Like it really made no sense.
Well, so even the thing before that with the, you know, spaceship rolling, it's like a cartoon. It's like a Saturday morning cartoon.
Well, I guess we'll see. I'm interested. I'm a huge fan of the Alien series. I like all of them, even Resurrection, even that one. And that one was really ridiculous. I still liked it. So I'm pretty excited to see where they go with this. No other details have been revealed just yet. So this one's a little ways off, but still pretty excited for it. Alien Covenant is the name.
The Covenant.
Yeah. Next up, Edgar Wright to co-write and direct an animated film for DreamWorks Animation.
Okay.
This will be his first animated movie. What do you think about this?
I'll believe it when I see it.
So he's going to be working on this with David Walliams, who is one of the guys behind Little Britain.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Little Britain?
No, I'm not.
I'm aware of its existence, but I've never seen it, so I can't really...
You know that it exists.
Yeah, like
it's a thing. You know it's a thing.
I think that it's one of those goofy British shows where the people would dress up, like it'd be the same character, same actors, and they dress up as different characters. I feel like that's a big thing in the UK. You know, like what was that? The League of Gentlemen? Was that the name of it?
I think that's what it was. I could never get into that show.
I could never get into that show either. I remember there was one sketch that they did that made me laugh, and it was at the vet's office, and there was a sick turtle, and he put like an oxygen mask on the turtle, and the pressure was so high that it blew the turtle out of the shell. And
Uh,
I remember that made me laugh, just the way that they did that effect. It was
there's,
funny.
there's not enough turtle comedy.
No, no, I agree. So that could be good. Apparently, so there was this animated film that was kind of in the works at DreamWorks, and it was about a shadow who decides to take over the his host's body.
Okay.
So like I think Josh Gad was
Oh, Jesus.
voicing this kind of boring guy who ends up in this kind of crazy situation, and I believe it was Bill Hader who voiced the Shadow, and he had to like help his person get through this adventure. But I think that what's happening is they're taking that story, or Edgar Wright's taking that story and kind of reworking it. So it may be similar. It was originally called Me and My Shadow.
That's clever. Took a lot of creativity.
I don't know, we'll see. I like the idea of Edgar Wright doing an animated film. I think it could be a really cool idea. The only thing that makes me not concerned, but just kind of questioning it, is that Edgar Wright has such a visual style to him, you know? Like a lot of his comedy comes from the visuals and how he cuts things. And I'll be interested to see how that translates into animation.
It should actually be perfect for him.
You'd think so.
Because he can do even more.
Because if you look at Scott Pilgrim, you know, that was live action, but it had a lot of animation in it. So more of that, please. Yes.
Get it.
Ben Wheatley set to direct a Wages of Fear remake.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I think it is a great idea.
It's a terrible idea.
I think it is. I think it is a good idea.
It's terrible. Why are we doing this?
I think it's a good idea. I like the idea of this story being remade, you know, every couple of decades with a new vision. Because if you see, comparing The Wages of Fear with Sorcerer, the William Friedkin one, it's the same basic premise, but the stories are wildly different. And I think that Ben Wheatley can come in and do, if it's different enough. Like if it's like a shot for shot remake or something, not needed, unnecessary. Yeah. What I'm hoping is that he'll lend his own voice and his own style to it. And I like the idea of these unique directors coming in and kind of remaking this classic story, you know, for a new generation. I think it has potential to be really great.
Well, everything has potential.
I don't think so. I don't think Gem and the Holograms had potential.
In the right hands, it does. Everything has potential in the right hands.
I guess that's true. Yeah, I guess that's true. Did you hear, this is not part of the news list, but did you hear that they pulled it from theaters after 2 weeks?
Really?
Yeah, it made like $1 million. It was one of the worst wide release openings ever. It made an average of like $500 per theater, per screen.
It's kind of funny how like poorly these movies are doing. I don't know. I get enjoyment out of it for some reason.
So do I, just because I'm hoping that Hollywood will catch on. They'll realize that this is not what we want anymore.
They won't. They won't.
No, I guess not. Oddly, I also found out that movie, Gem and the Holograms, was only a $5 million movie, so they obviously didn't have that much faith in it to begin with.
In that sense, it didn't do too poorly.
Yeah. New trailers this week. Got a bunch of new trailers.
Oh,
got some good ones, got some not so good ones. We have The Boss. That's the new Melissa McCarthy one. That's it's directed by her husband. I can't remember his name. He also did Tammy. So The Boss is basically, she plays this kind of rich business mogul who ends up going to jail for insider trading and loses everything, and then ends up moving in with her assistant and has to, I guess she kind of takes this her assistant's daughter under her wing and starts creating a brownie empire or something. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
There's a couple things in the trailer that made me laugh, but If you've ever seen a Melissa McCarthy movie before, then you know what to expect.
Okay.
Who knows? It could be a surprise. I mean, it could be like Identity Thief or Tammy, or it could be like Spy, which I really enjoyed.
You never know what you're getting.
Never know what you're gonna get. Midnight Special. This is the new one from Jeff Nichols with Michael Shannon. Pretty excited for this one. Actually, I like Jeff Nichols. You're Nichols. You're a Nichols fan, right?
I'm like on the fence with Nichols. I'm on the fence.
Okay.
That's where I'm at.
So basically, this one is it stars Michael Shannon. He finds out that his son has powers, like superpowers, and some other people discover that he has superpowers as well. And he's kind of on the run from presumably the government, who's trying to do tests and stuff on him.
You gotta do those tests.
I think it has potential. I think it definitely has potential. I'll be seeing it for sure. I think it looks quite good.
Interesting.
Yeah, Joel Edgerton's in it. Kirsten Dunst, Adam Driver's in it as well. So good, really good cast. Sam Shepard.
Well, you gotta check it out, Sam Shepard.
I was just gonna say, you put Sam Shepard in it, and I'm gonna go see it regardless. Cause I love me some Shepard.
Gotta get that Shepard.
Yeah,
he rarely makes bad decisions. So
yeah. Let's see what else we got here on the trailer watch. Now You See Me 2 got a new teaser trailer.
Moving on.
Moving on. Zoolander 2 gets a trailer.
Okay. Were you a fan of Zoolander, the first one?
No.
Zoolander 1, I guess is what you would call it.
Not really, but I don't know. It's one of those where when it came out back then, I didn't like it, but it kind of grew on me over the years. I'm not sure why.
The only thing I like about Zoolander is the gas station fight. That's it.
Oh, God, yes. That was amazing.
Everything else about that movie is absolute garbage. I can't stand it.
The Derek Zoolander Center for Kids Who Can't Read Good. I think it has its moments. But this new one, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it, because I feel like this year has been a complete garbage year for comedies. And I'm thinking, like, maybe we need a movie like Zoolander 2 to bring us back to the heyday of comedies.
I guess.
Because if you think back around when the first Zoolander came out, there were comedies coming out left and right. Because that's when, like, Will Ferrell was starting to become big. And it was just, like, this whole thing. There were all these really great comedies coming out.
Yeah, Zoolander wasn't one of them, though.
No, I don't think.
A lot of people love Zoolander, though.
Yeah, it was okay for me. It was like a meh for me. Let's see. We also have The Bronze. I'm actually really excited for this, and I think if you haven't checked out the trailer for this,
I haven't heard of anything.
I think you should watch the trailer for this after we're done recording, because it sort of reminds me of oh God, what's it called? Damn it, the one with fucking Danny McBride, Foot Fist Way.
Oh, okay.
So it sort of reminds me of that, but it's basically about a girl who is a bronze medalist in gymnastics, and she's kind of trying to find her way after winning the bronze. Okay. And she's like extremely foul-mouthed, and it's just it looks fun. Looks like a fun one.
Yeah.
Kind of into that one. And finally on trailers, we have Central Intelligence. This is with The Rock and Kevin Hart. This is a teaser trailer too, so they don't give too much away on this one, but come on. It just looks like more of the same. I mean, it might be funny. There's a scene at the very end of the teaser where The Rock is in a fat suit, and it's actually kind of funny.
Dude, still doing fat suits.
Yeah, we're still doing that. We're still fat shaming.
Okay. All right.
We're gonna get back into fat shaming later on in the show, but
oh boy,
that's pretty much it for news. Let's go ahead and move on to our first review of the day. Which one do you want to start with? I'll let you pick.
Start with James White.
Okay, we'll start with James White. That's one I watched first anyway. So
same here.
So this is written and directed by Josh Mond. I have a synopsis here. James, a 21-year-old New Yorker, struggles to take control of his self-destructive behavior in the face of Momentous Family Challenges. It stars Christopher Abbott, Cynthia Nixon, Ron Livingston's in there too, and Kid Cudi.
Yeah.
So, do you want to start it off, Kevin, or do you want me to start it?
Oh, you start off.
Okay. First off, I will throw out a disclaimer. I don't typically like movies that center around cancer. I just don't like cancer movies. They make me feel bad, and I always have a hard time with them.
Gotcha.
And this movie in particular, just because, man, this was a pretty heavy drama to get through. This was a pretty heavy one because this isn't like, I don't think this is a movie that has spoilers, but he loses his father and his mother has cancer. And it's basically just about him trying to cope and trying to deal with it and trying to not completely lose his shit all the time.
Yeah.
And I think the highlight for me was the performances, especially from Christopher Abbott. Holy shit. I feel like he killed it in this movie.
Yeah, he is quite good.
You know, I haven't seen a lot of his work. I mainly know him from Girls, but I feel like he really did an excellent job in this. And overall, I'd say I liked the movie quite a bit.
I was a little worried, I must say, because like the beginning portions of this film, I was not into it at all.
You mean, like really early on when he's
where he's just a piece of shit, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is fucking terrible. I hate this guy so much. He's the absolute worst. I hope it's not this the entire time, because I can't get behind it, because he's just an absolute piece of shit. It's just like him being, you know, super macho and super selfish and everything, and it's really difficult to take. And then, so for me, it was really like, I hope something happens here. Something needs to change, please. And then it does, and it kind of takes this turn, and which I thought was perfect. And it really made up for everything that happened in the beginning, because then you look back at it and you see it in a different light, and you realize why it was there to begin with. And you know, the director essentially, I'm hoping, wanted you to feel that way about this guy, that you wanted to see him as, you know, an extremely selfish person that's just, you know, everything's about him, even though things are happening to his family, but he takes it as an opportunity to just throw himself a pity party, really. I think he's entitled to everything.
Yeah, I mean, that's one way of looking at it. I looked at it as just him trying to cope with this loss, this profound loss in his life. And not just that, but the constant stress of his mother. I mean, the odd thing was that they made it clear that he was never really connected to his dad. Like, he never saw it. Like, his dad, he said his dad skipped out, you know, early on in his life. So the fact that it was affecting him that tremendously, I was kind of not confused, but wondering about that.
Yeah, I think he was just using it more of an excuse.
Yeah, and that's what I was wondering. Like, is he just using this as an excuse to, you know, just go off the wall and...
Yeah, essentially just be like an entitled prick.
Yeah.
But then it does shift a little bit, you know, and then, you know, he starts, you know, showing a little more focus towards his mother, because he's doing a shit job of taking care of his mother. Like, every scene starts with him not being there to help his mother, which is what he's supposed to be doing. It's just one scene after that, over and over again. And then finally you start to see, you know, this change in him. He starts to mature a little bit. And then I thought the ending was quite fantastic in the way that it kind of leaves it completely up in the air, as, you know, is this maturity going to continue to grow and develop, or is he just going straight back to the way he acted in the beginning? Yeah.
You don't know if the self-destructive behavior is going to end, or if it's
going to continue, or what. And the way that they end it is, Josh Mann kind of puts it, because he kind of hints towards both outcomes. You know, he kind of hints at both paths.
Yeah, like when he says he needs to leave.
Yeah. And, you know, right off the bat, he's like, I don't have any money. Can I have money? Yeah. It's just like, oh, Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think it's easy to It's interesting though because the movie starts. We never know what his base level personality is.
Yeah, exactly.
The movie starts with the funeral or the shiva. So he's already in mourning when the movie starts. So we never really get an idea of his true personality because pretty much the whole time he's just fucked up. He's just drinking and he's not in his right mind pretty much the whole movie.
Yeah.
So we never really get to see like his base level. It's just an onslaught. And you know, I don't know if it's easy to empathize with him, but I found myself empathizing with him throughout the movie where I was just thinking about, you know, how I would react to the same situation. And it's like, I was thinking to myself, I can't say that I wouldn't do things differently, you know? Like I probably would be hitting the bottle a lot.
Would you be?
If I could, but at this point in my life, if I drink like 2 beers, I get a migraine, so I physically can't.
Oh, jeez.
And I doubt that I would just head down to Mexico either.
Yeah.
That probably wouldn't appeal to me. I may pick a different location, but...
Would you, like, yell out to girls just having conversations
and
call them cunts and then fight people for no fucking reason whatsoever?
No, I can't see myself doing that.
So I think that kind of hints at some of his base, you know, behaviors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I don't think you just, like, completely changed. Maybe you do. I don't know.
Well, maybe he did, but there has to be, you know, some of him in that for sure. Like you said, he was kind of a dick. I mean, I don't think we're supposed to be like, oh, this is just a great guy. You know?
No. Not at all. At least I hope not.
But at the same time, yes, he's a dick, but you can see the goodness in him, and I think that that's one really important thing about this movie is that if he was like a complete deplorable asshole the entire time, it would be difficult to even watch the movie because you wouldn't feel any kind of connection to him whatsoever. Like you wouldn't feel for him, even though he was going through this horrible situation. It'd be difficult for you to care because he's just such a fuckhead. But there are times in the movie where he does show genuine like caring for others, and I think that goes a long way in a story like this.
It definitely helps, yeah. But essentially, like what you said at the beginning here, I think what really makes this movie is the performances. Out of everything that's going on,
yeah,
the performances is really what gets it. Between Christopher Abbott's performance and Cynthia Nixon,
yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah, she was excellent in it as well. I mean, she just, especially the scene where he can't find her. And she's out, and she's confused, and you know it's really affecting her mind. Like that whole sequence was really, really powerful, and
and then a little bit later on from that, when he has to take her to the bathroom, that entire scene that happens there, that's real. And that's kind of where it won me. That's where it like fully won me over.
Yeah, yep, for sure. It's a tough movie. It's definitely a tough movie.
And I think in
a good way.
Yeah, definitely. It is pretty rough to sit through, and you just kind of hope that, like, oh, I hope I don't ever have to go through that.
I know, right? Oh God,
please.
And it's funny that there was one very deliberate scene when he goes out to the kitchen and there is that magnet on the fridge for hospice, and you could just see him like thinking, you know, should I just call this number and you know, wash my hands of this whole thing and just let them take care of it, and he decides not to. And I think that that's another thing that goes very positively at his character.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, because he starts to make those changes, and you see him coming around and being much more mature, showing more focus and drive and helping his mother instead of being the complete fuckhead like you said in the beginning.
I thought Kid Cudi did a pretty good job in this too. I think that he's starting to really come into his own as an actor. When I watched him on How to Make It in America, I liked his character in that show, but I would never say that he was a particularly good actor. Like in that show, it seemed like he seemed like a rapper turned actor. You know what I mean? Like when LL Cool J first started acting and stuff, where they're kind of a little rough around the edges. Like they're passable, but you still know.
Yeah.
But I think in this, I think this was probably his best performance to date.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't really know much about Kid Cudi. I know the name, but I don't know if I've ever even heard.
You haven't heard his music?
I don't know if I have.
I guarantee you've heard a few of his songs, and probably you would know him if you heard him.
More than likely.
I like his music. I mean, I think he's...
I thought he also does the music for this film, which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, I like the music in this movie. It was good.
Yeah, really caught really added to a couple of scenes, especially towards the end there.
Yeah, I thought the opening scene was interesting when he was at the bar or the club, he had earbuds in and he was listening to his own music in the club.
Because it's so selfish. That's how selfish he is.
Because
was the club playing Black and Brown, or was he listening to Black and Brown? The Black Milk, Danny Brown.
I think he was listening to it. No. Actually, I don't know.
Can't remember.
I think he was listening to it, but yeah, I liked how they did that, where they played both songs on top of each other, and I liked that. But what did you think visuals, cinematography wise?
It was alright.
Yeah, nothing really.
I didn't think it was anything special.
Yeah, nothing really stood out to me, but it was fine. It wasn't like I had any issues with it.
Yeah.
It looked like an indie movie. Like when I think of your typical indie movie as far as framing and the handheld work and stuff like that, it felt like an indie movie.
Get that shit your handheld.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta get that intimacy.
A lot of like drab colors,
Yeah, it's pretty. It's like it's almost grayscale.
Yeah.
Just various shades of gray.
Yeah, which in this case it fits. It fits with the tone of the movie.
Because everything's gray. It's just terribleness everywhere.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on James White?
No, I think we covered all of it.
Yeah.
Got it.
I would say when this does hit VOD, it is definitely worth a look. Probably won't hit my top 10 or anything like that, but let's give this some scores. I'll give James White a 7.5 out of 10.
Oh shit, that's what I'm giving it.
Yeah. Solid movie. Also, I liked Ron Livingston's character. He was only in it for maybe 2 scenes, but I liked his character in it as well.
Yeah, the interview or whatever the hell that was supposed to be.
It was supposed to be an interview.
He just kind of gives it to him straight. Just kind of sad that he couldn't realize that himself.
Yeah, he was kidding himself. I don't even think he was like completely with it. He was probably still drunk when he went into that interview.
More than likely.
Yeah. All right. That's James White. That's playing in select cities right now. Let's talk about Mediterranea. Now, this is another pretty heavy movie.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't as heavy as I expected it to be, and it wasn't at all what I thought it would be plot-wise either.
No, this was completely different than what I was expecting.
Like, I want to talk about the director and the synopsis and all that, but I'll first say that, let me read the synopsis here. 2 men make the dangerous journey from Africa to Italy for a better life, but then face hostility and violence in this shocking look at the life and death struggle of refugees. This is written and directed by Jonas Carpignano.
Yeah, that sounds pretty
Close.
good. That sounds pretty good.
So, again, this is in limited release and on VOD right now. I thought that the whole movie was going to be the journey.
That's exactly what I thought.
And, spoiler, they get to Italy within like the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay, all right. I know that this is a 2-hour movie, so, or nearly 2 hours, like an hour and 50 minutes. So what's going to happen here? So, yeah, it definitely wasn't what I thought.
That's exactly what I thought. I thought it was going to be about the entire journey itself, and how, difficult and arduous it is.
The journey was.
Yeah, and then like, you're going through it like, because I think it is something like they get there in like 15 minutes or something like that.
Yeah,
I was just kind of sitting there watching, like, these guys are making really great time. Like, what is this movie about?
Yeah, like when it flashes the different countries that they enter on the screen. What I actually did was I went to Google Maps and charted out.
You're tracking them?
Yeah, I charted out their route just to see how long it would take. And I was like, man, they're like really flying through this here.
Yeah, they're just getting through it.
But when you chart it out, it would take, if they drove, and obviously you have to take a boat for part of it, it would take about a day to get there. It'd be about 24 hours to get there. Yeah, so it wasn't even that far of a journey to begin with.
Wow, it just seems like a...
I know, it seems, because in like one of the first scenes, well, probably like the second scene, they're in the desert, and then like the next second they're in the Mediterranean Sea. But anyway, Kevin, we'll start with you. What'd you think of Mediterranea?
Well, number one, I was surprised for the aforementioned reasons.
Yeah.
It turned out to be something completely different than what I was expecting, and in all honesty, I gotta say that it was okay overall. I mean, I don't know. To me, it just didn't really feel like there was that much to this. I didn't feel like an urgency or an immediacy to the film's message, except for like the little bit at the end that they get into.
The protesting?
Yeah, it just felt like an extremely long build-up to that. But it didn't really feel like they were building towards it.
Right, yeah. There wasn't much of a crescendo moment in this. Like, it just kind of, it was what it was. I thought that the whole journey aspect of it was the best part for me, especially the scene when they're in the sea and during the storm. I thought that was like one of the best scenes in the movie, because it looked awesome how they did it, because this was probably a fairly low budget movie, and for them to be able to, that's probably why they shot it that way, where it was pretty much black and it only lit up when the lightning hit. But in real life, that's what it would look like. It would be complete darkness. But I liked that scene a lot. And it's interesting, the movie started to lose me probably maybe 20 minutes after they got to Italy, because I don't know, it wasn't really grabbing me. But then as we spent more time with the characters, specifically, what's his name, Aiva,
yeah,
the main guy,
yeah.
I started to grow more attached to him, and I wanted him to succeed, because for some reason, at least to me, he was just kind of this inherently likable character.
He was, yeah. His character really does help keep your attention. And because you're right, he just seems inherently likable.
And because I had no idea where this was going to go. Like, I didn't read up on this movie other than the synopsis, so I had no idea where it was going to go. And there were a few scenes where I was like, oh god, it's going to, because especially when he kind of forms a friendship with his boss's daughter, like the young daughter, I was like, oh god, this is going to be like what was that movie with Mads Mikkelsen, The Hunt?
Oh.
I was like, oh god, this is going to be like a Hunt situation here. And like, I just knew that something terrible was going to happen, but maybe this is a spoiler, but nothing really does. I mean, like, there's some conflict that occurs, but nothing as big as I expected.
Yeah, I mean, it does get terrible towards the end, and some things, kind of transpire, but I don't know. It feels like it's building up towards that, like throughout the movie, and it's really taking its time to get to that end point.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really feel like any of it is actually building towards that particular ending.
No, I feel like the message behind it is somewhat muddled, because I feel like that they didn't get into it enough. Like, I wanted to see more exploration of, the prejudice that they were, get up against, and them being kicked out of their home and all of this stuff. Like, I wanted a deeper exploration of that, because I feel like, that's kind of the crux of the movie. That's what it's all leading up to. But I feel like they just don't go far enough down that road.
Yeah, they just kind of throw it out there at the last minute, just kind of gloss over it, just essentially to get you to that point of where everything culminates. And then even then, that feels like it's just kind of thrown out there and glossed over, and then we're back to something else entirely.
Yeah, but I did think that there were a number of very poignant moments in the movie, especially at the end when he's pouring the champagne and then he sees the dudes come up. Yeah, I found that to be kind of a poignant moment, and there were several others as well. The Skype scene, I liked the Skype scene. I thought that the Skype scene was the most, at least for me, that was like the most emotional scene of the whole movie.
Yeah, that one. That's where it finally comes together and actually hits you.
Yeah,
hits you with that gut punch.
It does. It absolutely does. Again, another use of Rihanna.
Yeah,
that was done in a very very successful way.
Films using Rihanna.
Yeah, in ways that you don't expect.
Yeah, and they work.
Yeah,
and for whatever reason, I love them.
Same
Even
here.
though I can't stand Rihanna. I don't know, and I don't even like that song.
Yeah, same here. It just the way that it was presented, I thought it was, a lot of it was his emotional reaction to the whole thing.
Yeah, I thought the performances were pretty good. Cinematography for me wasn't, it's a lot like James White in the way that it's not bad, it's not great. It's serviceable.
Yeah, I thought it was serviceable. There were a couple shaky cam scenes that I thought were a little bit too intense with their shakiness.
Gotcha.
There was a scene where they were like running, and it was like, holy shit, this is.
Oh yeah.
And there were a couple other scenes too where the camera deliberately panned to something, and I couldn't tell what it was. There were like two or three instances where that happened, where I was like, "What? Wait, what was that?" But other than that, yeah, I thought visually it was fine. It was good. I liked the music again in this one. I liked.
I don't know. It feels like for a movie that's an hour and 15 minutes, give or take, that there just wasn't a whole lot of development here. Like, I just don't feel like I got,
I don't feel like it's the whole story, first of all.
Yeah, I don't feel like I really got like a full story, like a full grasp of what the message was and what they were trying to say.
Yeah, I feel like they were just dipping their toes in the water there at the end, but then it just ends. And I will say that I liked how it ended. I liked where they chose to end the movie, but I also believe like we could have used more. I mean, this is a big story, This is like a giant story about, someone emigrating from what was he, Burkina Faso?
Yeah.
And, it is kind of an epic story in a way, showing his life and his journey and all of this stuff. And I don't know, this is one of these scenarios where I feel like they either could have maybe reworked the script a little bit to add more towards the end and develop that where it goes a little bit more, and maybe cut out some of the stuff in the middle. But at the same time, I also get that it's all build up. Like, I get that, like those kind of and the bully guys are showing up here and there, and it's gradually escalating, and I totally get that, but
it is difficult because it is. I mean, it's a big story to tell.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there's a part of me too that's got to understand that. I can't really hold it against him that he wasn't able to capture the complexity and the scope of the story in an hour and 50 minutes. I mean, he probably did like 100 times better job than I would have been able to do.
Yeah, because he does touch on pretty much all of the aspects of someone fleeing from their home country and seeking refugee status in another country. Like, they deal with, becoming legal and getting the papers and finding work and the difficult work that they will inevitably find, and being away from your family and dealing with prejudice. Like, they cover all of that stuff in this movie. So it is a very large scale movie in a lot of ways. But like you said, I feel like we could have used a little bit more of the stuff at the end, especially because it feels so relevant,
Well, yeah, definitely.
In a lot of ways, it feels really relevant to what's happening here right now.
Well, yeah. Plus everything that's happening in Burkina Faso within like the last year or so.
Oh yeah.
A lot of unrest.
One thing I thought was crazy is how many languages that dude speaks. Like, because I was trying to figure it out the whole time, because he seems to know Italian and he speaks French, but he also knows English. And I looked up.
That's the other thing that always. I mean, trying not to go too deep political here, but when people make comments about refugees and immigrants and stuff, and they always try and showcase them as good for nothings that are just coming over,
criminals basically.
Yeah, and it's like they're so intelligent. They know so many damn languages.
Yeah,
and they were able to get here. They were able to finagle and to go through all of that to get here. It's incredible. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how.
Yeah, and it really puts things into perspective too, because a lot of days you wake up and you're on your way to work and you're just like, fuck, I have to do this like 4 more times after today.
Yeah. I mean, I freak out if I had to drive in Washington, D.C. Like, that's a huge thing for me where it's like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can navigate Washington, D.C. streets. But they're just like, okay, Burkina Faso to Italy, here we go. And they do it.
Yeah. And a lot of it's like through the desert, too. Walking through presumably miles of desert.
And just, running into terrorists or rebel fighters or whatever,
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. It really does put things into perspective and makes you kind of feel lucky for what you have.
Oh my God, yes.
And especially because after he gets that job, to him, that's a hell of a job. They feed him, they're nice to him, but it looks as though he works from dawn to dusk. I mean, it looks like he just works all day and all night.
Mm-hmm.
Because when they start in the morning, they're out in the fields picking oranges, and then at night they're like processing them.
And then he ends up eating there, and then he does jobs essentially after hours after they're done with the regular work.
Yeah, it's crazy, and he's probably not making. He's probably sending all of that money home, and he's probably not even making anything close to what we make here in the States, working office jobs or whatever.
No way.
So yeah, it does put a lot of things into perspective, and I think it's important to visit movies like this every now and then, just to keep yourself in check, and understand how these things, how life is for some of these people.
Yeah, it is good. It is a good reminder that for people like us to check your privilege.
But also, it's also somewhat heartening to know that in the movie he still has fun. Like, he's still happy.
Yeah.
Like, he's still able to drink and hang out with his friends and dance and like have a good time for the most part too. So
it's not all wallowing in despair.
Yeah, exactly. This movie, as heavy as this movie is, I thought it was going to be far heavier.
Yeah.
Like, as far as the journey that they go on and stuff, there's obviously some very bad things that happen, but I thought it was going to be much worse.
Yeah, and I think it's, again, with how we were kind of talking about the main character and him just being likable, I think it's a testament to his character that everything that's happening in this movie, and there's so much going on, that, I mean, I would say about 95% of the time in this movie, he's just, he's in a good mood and he has a smile on his face.
Yeah, I think that he's just an optimistic guy, and that really goes a long way, especially when you look at his friend that does the trip with him, and he cracks. Like, after they get to Italy and start their new job, he's just he's lost.
He's a bit pessimistic.
Yeah, he's depressed. He's not happy. He hates his job. He hates the people that he's working for, and then he starts raging against the government and all of this stuff, and the people in the town that are trying to kick him out, which I was really confused about how that was even possible. How they could just kick them out of their homes like that because the neighborhood wanted them out.
It's easy. They don't have any papers.
But I thought that they had the. I thought that they had the. I guess they had them for 3 months, right?
Yeah, they were trying to get those. What was it? They had to get work contracts.
Yeah.
And then to parlay that into like a residency permit.
Yeah.
And that too, to go through all that stuff, to understand how to navigate all of that. all the bureaucracy of getting paperwork. It's ridiculous.
Yep, it's crazy, but overall, I think that this movie is definitely worth a watch for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and give this one a score. Kevin, what do you give Mediterranea?
I give it a 7.
I'm also gonna go with a 7 on this one. It sounds like we're.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's kind of boring when we all give the same scores.
It's just
it is what it is.
It's really interesting for both of these movies. Number one, James White reminded me a lot of Brandon Colvin's Sabbatical.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of dealing with the same thing, and then Mediterranean reminded me of Christopher Bell's The Winds That Scatter. It's kind of dealing with the same thing.
Interesting.
So it's like those are double billing ideas. Do that.
Yeah. Well,
double bill if you can.
Double bill, but just be prepared. Watch something fun afterwards. You need a palate cleanser, I think.
Yeah. Probably. I think that's where Zoolander 2 comes in.
Yeah, just watch Zoolander. Just watch the gas fight.
On the gas station fight? Yeah. There you go.
All right, let's talk about some of what we've been watching. Kevin, we'll start it with you this week.
It started with me. Okay. I watched a Miklos Jankos film from 1965. This is one of his earlier ones. And it was quite interesting in the sense that now I'm a huge Jankos fan. I think he's one of the greatest directors ever. And with this being one of his earlier films, I think it's like his 4th or 5th feature length. And you see like the beginning stages of his signature style, which is, long takes, and he has this like wandering focus where his films really don't have like a central character. It just kind of, the camera just passes, like it'll follow one person and then another person will pop into the frame and it'll kind of go off and follow them for a little bit and just kind of jumps around. And with this, you see like the development stages of it. It's not like completely refined to the point of, it's the signature style, but it's interesting to see it in that aspect. And it's a pretty simple story where it's just a young Hungarian man who's on his way home, gets captured. This is in like the dying days of World War II. He gets captured, he gets released, and then he's, traversing a little bit more, and he gets captured again. And this time he ends up being left at this little post for this young Russian officer that's, I guess, in charge of milking cows and providing milk to all the other Russian soldiers. So in this remote outpost, he has to stay there. And then these two, because they're kind of the same age, they're around 17, 18, 19 years old, and they kind of develop a friendship even though they don't speak their same language. And they kind of look out for each other. And it mostly boils down to is he can run away and easily get away. But the thing that keeps him there is because the young Russian soldier will get in trouble if he loses his charge, essentially.
Mm.
So he does it for him so he doesn't get in trouble. So he decides to be a prisoner of war, essentially. It's not his best film. I will say that. It's not his best. He's had much better. But it's like a light recommend for me.
Okay. I haven't seen anything from him, so maybe you could recommend one and I'll dive in.
Oh, I'll recommend.
You didn't assign me any of these for the 2015 list, did you?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe check it and maybe watch something besides one.
I'm gonna re-sign up for Hulu today because I got rid of my Hulu Plus account because I was never using it. But I just got the new Apple TV yesterday, and so I'm going to re-sign up because I'm loving the new Apple TV.
Oh, boy.
Loving it.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. One of the best things about the new Apple TV is the fact that it has, like, a universal search. So you can say, like, find the movie Spotlight, and it'll show you all of the services that have it. So if it's on Netflix, it'll show that. If it's on, iTunes, it'll have that, or Hulu, or any of those.
Yeah.
So you can pick, which one you want to view. You can, if it's like a VOD rental, you can pick the cheapest one or whichever service you prefer. I like that a lot about it.
Mm.
Or if there's like a movie you're looking for, you're not sure if it's on one of them or not. It's great so far. But anyway, I saw the movie Spotlight.
Oh, okay. That's right. I forgot you were going to see this.
Yeah, directed by Thomas McCarthy of the Cobbler fame.
Okay. Okay.
Let me tell you, I'll just throw this out there. Way better than the Cobbler.
You sure?
Way better than the Cobbler. I like this a lot. I like movies like this that revolve around like journalism, you know, uncovering secrets and things like that. It reminded me a lot of All the King's Men, something similar to that. I enjoyed this movie tremendously. I thought it was fascinating. If you're not familiar, it's about the Boston Globe and how they uncovered the massive scandal, the massive cover-up of child abuse in the Catholic Church. And it's crazy. It's just a crazy story. It's hard to believe that this is real, and it's also hard to believe that the Catholic Church came out completely unscathed in all of this, because there were like literally thousands of cases of sexual abuse from priests, and it all, even though this was all uncovered, it still got swept under the rug.
Yep. Well, then you left that new pope that he just seems like a down to earth guy, and then everyone's just like, this fucking pope is awesome.
Yeah. Catholic Church is back. It's back, baby.
Oh, it's so sad.
Yeah, well,
so sad.
It is very sad, actually. But great cast in this. You have Mark Ruffalo, Rachel McAdams, Michael Keaton, Stanley Tucci, Liv Schreiber, Billy Crudup's in there too, John Slattery.
Yeah, I want to see this because you're right. For whatever reason, movies about like journalism, like investigative journalism, I don't know why. I get hooked.
Yeah, it's just intriguing. It also it was sort of like Zodiac too. I would compare it a little bit to Zodiac. It's certainly not as visually daring as something like Zodiac. As far as like cinematography goes, it's pretty typical. Like nothing great here.
Yeah, that's
really you watch this type of movie for the story and for the acting. Mark Ruffalo does a fantastic job. Keaton, as always, does a great job. Everybody does a great job, actually. So yeah, this is playing right now in theaters, so I would check it out. I mean, again, this probably isn't going to go on my top 10 or anything like that, but it was a really enjoyable story and very intriguing. So that's Spotlight.
I'm doing some catching up here on the 2015 films, and I watched Kumiko the Treasure Hunter.
Yeah, I have yet to see this. So.
Finally got around to seeing this one, and this is just odd. It's an odd movie.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure how I feel about this, considering that this is the Zoner brothers. They're not number one. I'll say that it's better than the last film that I saw by the Zoner brothers. Much better. Vast improvement. Yeah, vast improvement.
I know you really hated that one.
I was, and that's where I was worried going into this one, because I was like, wow, I really hated Kid Thing, and people, that was kind of well received, so I was a little worried.
I liked it.
A little trepidatious going into Kumiko here, and so they kind of go the same route as the Coen brothers, right, where they do Fargo and it's based on a true story, but it's not based on a true story. And it's inspired by a true story, kind of, where there's this real life woman from Japan that went and committed suicide in this location, and what happened is, out of that, people just made up this story that she was there trying to find the cash from Fargo, and they essentially were just making fun of her, and it was awful because a woman actually committed suicide because she was desperate and lonely.
Jeez.
And then they kind of take this idea and they're like, okay, yeah, let's make it about how this Japanese woman goes looking for the cash that was buried in Fargo, and we'll make it kind of funny. Like, they try and capture the Coen brothers comedy, and they don't do a good job of it. It's just, it left me with an uneasy feeling. I just don't know about this. I mean, there's some good cinematography here and there. There's some good imagery, but just the way that her character is kind of presented and painted it left a bad taste in my mouth.
Mm.
I don't know. I still, to me, it's like I wasn't as struck with it as everyone else seems to be. Because there's really nothing to it. And you're taking a real life story of someone that was damaged in a dark place and committed suicide. And then you turn it into something like this. Essentially being like, yeah, those people that made up that story about her, they had a good idea. Let's make a movie.
Yeah, it does seem kind of disrespectful.
It's a bit disrespectful.
That's Kumiko the Treasure Hunter. I saw Ted 2.
Okay.
I'm not really going to talk about this. It was not good. It just, for some reason, I liked the first Ted quite a bit, but they just didn't. They tried to do the same thing with Ted 2, and the jokes didn't land for me. It just, I don't know. I laughed maybe 2 or 3 times, and then maybe a couple chortles here and there.
Oh, okay.
But it just, nothing to say about this one. It was nothing. It was a nothing of a movie, and it was really disappointing because I did like the first one. A lot of the jokes were rehashed in this one, like the whole Flash Gordon thing.
Oh, Jesus.
And it just, it was pretty ridiculous, and I just didn't find it funny. I just did not like Ted 2, so I'd say don't bother with that one, unfortunately. I don't know if maybe Seth MacFarlane is just, I'm just done with him.
I am. I know that much. I've tried to like occasionally watch Family Guy. I just can't do it.
Yeah, I still watch Family Guy. I still watch Family Guy every week, and it's fine, but it just doesn't. It's just not the same. I don't know. Maybe they're running out of ideas or something, but
yeah, it feels like he's phoning it in.
Yeah, it just all feels like it's getting a little bit stale.
Definitely.
So yeah, Ted 2, not really worth a look.
Fuck that Ted 2. I watched a potential for Unsung Indies, and I gotta say, when I started this, I was worried about this moment, where you would go into an indie and it wouldn't quite make the mark, and it wouldn't be an unsung indie, and that's what happened here. This movie's called Dipso by Theodore Kolotos, and it's about a guy that is recently released from prison. So he's trying to stay on the up and up. He's trying to go clean, trying to stay clean. And he realizes when he was in prison that he wanted to give it a shot as a stand-up comedian. So what happens is a large portion of this is just him, kind of hanging out with his family. And his family it's kind of split, where there's certain people in his family that, were into some shady shit, and they're not on the up and up. And then his other brother who's actually a member of the army, and he's getting deployed soon. So he's trying to help him out. He gets him a job and all this and that. And, it's just him trying to stay on the right path. And it's kind of out of this kind of comes a portrait of like small town America and this guy trying to make it. The thing that didn't really work too much for me was the whole, this stand-up comedian aspect of it. Him trying to make it in stand-up comedy, where it's talked about, and you see a lot of him like working on jokes and trying to get better, but him actually trying to make a go of it is like 2 small scenes of the entire movie, and it just feels like it wasn't really developed that much. It was just kind of tacked on at the end. I don't know if there was just it just lacks a little bit of focus, which I think would have helped it out greatly. There's a great deal of realism to the story that is a pro and a con at the same time, because it's really unpolished, but yet at the same time it's genuine. But at the same time it does kind of have the overall feel of like an amateur production. So it's a bit uneven in that aspect as well. So it's something that just missed the mark for me. But I guess in a sense it's still a success in the fact that I'm looking forward to seeing more from this director.
Okay. And that's Dipso. Where did you see this one?
I saw this on Fandor.
Okay,
it's on
there you
Fandor.
go. Fandor, check it out.
Get that Fandor.
I saw # Horror.
Okay.
I'll have a review for this one. Up. I'm actually like halfway done.
Are you gonna write out # Horror?
No, No,
No.
I'm not.
No.
So basically, this one is about a group of 12-year-old girls who get together for a sleepover, and they are absolutely horrible, horrible people. They're horrible to each other. They're horrible to everyone around them. They're just these bratty, spoiled little rich girls, and as it turns out, someone is killing them. Someone starts killing them.
Yeah.
So the thing about the movie is that it's written and directed by Tara Subkoff. She's an actress. This is her first. This is her directorial debut. And I believe it's her writing debut too. The thing about this is it's supposedly based on a true story. I don't know, or it's inspired by actual events. I'm not sure what the actual events were that this is based on, but it's kind of a it looks at social media and how the youth of today is so obsessed with social media that it can prove to be kind of a toxic thing where they lose grip on reality, and they're so focused on getting likes and retweets and whatever that they kind of become disconnected from the real people around them and their real relationships.
Mm-hmm.
But we've seen this before. This is something we've explored before. There's a lot of movies that you can watch that go down this same road, and it's tough because the characters are so unlikable. And I don't mean just the girls, I mean the adult characters too. Like Chloe Sevigny plays one of the kids' moms, and she's just absolutely horrible. And Timothy Hutton plays one of the dads, and he's freaking ridiculous and over the top. Like half the movie he's just screaming.
Okay.
And one of the worst things in this movie is throughout the entire movie, just like randomly, these like animations will come up on the screen that'll say like hashtag whatever and then like submit, and it's just the most horrible, and it happens nonstop throughout the movie, and it's just like submit, and it's like on the whole, it's like a cutaway, so it's like the whole screen, and it's just absolutely awful. And they also have that thing that you hate, Kevin, where they'll be text messaging or doing stuff on their phone and it'll appear on the screen. Like little bubbles will appear on the screen. It's like fucking pop-up video on the movie.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate because that's going to be something that's going to be, you would imagine it's going to be, you're going to see more and more of in films, but it just doesn't feel like anyone's really figured out the best way to do it yet.
I think some TV shows and movies do it right. I think the first time I noticed it was on the show Sherlock, the BBC one with Benedict Cumberbatch. And the way that they do it actually works quite well because people text message a lot. And how are you going to show that? You know, it's like you got to show it somehow, especially if it's pertinent to the plot. And they did it right. But in this movie, it's absolutely egregious and horrible. Like, not only do they show their text messaging, but they show like when they pick apples in Farmville or whatever, and it'll say like 4 apples picked. And it's just to, further show that they're so disconnected from the real world that they're like having these conversations with their friends, but they're not even paying attention. They're just like picking apples and shit.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't, it does not work. And I really had a terrible, terrible time with this movie. So I will say the one good thing is the location where they shot this. It was in this gorgeous house in Connecticut. I mean, I don't know. I tried to research who designed the house, the architect that designed this house, and I couldn't find it, but holy crap, what an amazing property this is shot on. It's weird. It's a really weird movie. Not at all like what I expected. Like she tries to be artistic with it. Like a lot of the shots are an attempt to look artistic, but it just it doesn't quite work all the way. So yeah, this # horror did not work for me, but this is on VOD if you're interested.
All right. I have something that didn't work for me, and that was, what's the title of this sucker again? The Young and Prodigious T.S. Spivet.
Oh, this is
So this is the Jean-Pierre Jeunet.
The Jeunet.
His foray into into English speaking filmmaking, and it didn't go well. I don't like it. You can tell it's a Jeannot film, but at the same time, it feels like a watered down version of what his films are.
Movie, right?
Hmm.
It's a kids movie, right?
Yeah. So I guess I don't know much about the book that it's based off of. But the main character of the story is a 10-year-old who's super smart, precocious as all hell. Just he invents a machine that wins him an award, and he has to get to Washington D.C. to get his award from the Smithsonian. And it's it's okay, but the thing that really destroys it is the kid played by Kyle Catlett, who plays the main character. So much of it is through voiceover narration delivered by him, talking about where he comes from. And of course, he lives in Montana, and his family's super quirky. And,
of course.
And unfortunately, this kid's narration is awful. Now, I already hate voiceover narration. I can't stand it. Number two, it's even worse when it's done poorly. Number two, when it's done poorly by a small kid, makes it even worse. And then the fact that almost it feels like the first half hour of this film is just nonstop narration from him, just telling you about his life and living in Montana and his quirky family. And it's too much to take. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I deliberately skipped this one because I am a fan of Jeannot's films for the most part, but this one I saw the trailer and I was just like, nah.
See, I never saw the trailer for it. I mean, it didn't sound that great, but it felt like a good pick for just like a turn your brain.
Yeah, just like a late afternoon watch.
Yeah. Didn't work. Did not work.
Yeah, that's the young and prodigious T.S. Spivet. The only other thing that I wanted to talk about, just mainly because you texted me yesterday and said that you've been watching it too. That's Jessica Jones on Netflix.
Yeah.
How far are you into this?
I'm third episode.
Third episode, okay.
I this is good stuff.
I think I'm 4 episodes in. So we both have a little ways to go, but what are your initial thoughts on this one?
I love the overall feel of it.
It has such a noir vibe to it. I mean, clearly it was very purposefully a noir, especially with like the music and stuff, but
yeah, and I just love the fact that I keep forgetting that this is taking place in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
And I keep forgetting that they're superheroes. And the way that they're handling that is fantastic because they're barely speaking about it. They'll hint at it here and there, like when they'll just throw out like, oh, the green guy and his gang, and that time that they talk about aliens attacking the city like it was nothing, like it just pops up like a little bit in the conversation, and then they don't really talk about it anymore. And I'm just thinking in my head, because I kind of forget that's what universe that we're in.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, yeah, that's right. And then at the same time, I started thinking, like, how is that not like the only thing you guys talk about 24/7? Like,
well,
how did that die down in conversation?
People move on. At this point, when did the first Avengers come out? 3 years ago. So yeah, I mean, they're 3 years removed from it. So it's people are moving on with their lives, man.
I guess so. And I think they just set it up so well that there's so much of it I want to know.
Yeah, I think that what they're doing with the Marvel Netflix shows, and granted, they've only come out with Daredevil in addition to this one, but Daredevil was very similar. It was dark, it was gritty, it was very much, it felt like a real world setting. It didn't feel like, it was in the Marvel Universe, sure, but it still had kind of a more contained vibe to it. And they did the same thing in Daredevil, where they would just mention these things in passing, or you would see like, a newspaper headline or something, but that would be it. And it never feels heavy-handed with the references and stuff. And I thought that like with Jessica Jones, it's structured a lot like Daredevil in that there's this through line, but then there's also the fact that she's a detective. So she's getting cases. People are coming up and trying to hire her for different cases. And it was the same thing in Daredevil, where he's a lawyer. So he's getting people coming into his office and trying to hire him as a lawyer. So the vibe is very similar. And the locations are the same. They both take place in Hell's Kitchen. And yeah, I'm loving what they're doing on Netflix. It's so much better than that horrible Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show on ABC.
Yeah.
And one thing that really, Daredevil was very dark and violent. But Jessica Jones looks like it's taken it to a whole new level, especially with the amount of sex in that show. Like, I was really surprised.
Yeah, that was just a bit odd. I wasn't expecting that. Definitely wasn't expecting that.
If I remember correctly, they moved Jessica Jones in the comic books to the Marvel Max line, where it was like the adult Marvel stories. Like, they moved Punisher over there, and maybe even there was a Daredevil series that was in the Max line, which was basically like the R-rated version, where they were allowed to say things like fuck and show some nudity and have more violence. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the series so far. I like it a lot. I like Kristen Ritter as Jessica Jones, and I think that it's another winner. I can't wait to see what they're gonna do with Iron Fist. That's like the big mystery right now, especially because Luke Cage is the other one, and I was surprised to see him in Jessica Jones as much as he is.
Yeah.
And Iron Fist is the big question mark right now, and I'll be really excited to see what they do with Iron Fist, because I think they're doing some really cool stuff.
And I think for me, the great thing is, and this is just for me, this is what makes it all so wonderful, is I have no idea about anything.
Yeah.
Because I don't. Yeah, it's all new. So I'm just excited to see where it goes. I have no idea who these characters are, what they do. I don't know anything about them. I don't know what their special powers are, except for the little bit I've seen so far.
Yeah. I
don't know anything.
And that's kind of the other cool thing, is they don't hold your hand. They don't like go out and tell you like, this is Hellcat. Like this is who this is.
I don't even know who Hellcat is.
Yeah. Well, maybe you'll find out. Maybe you won't. I don't know.
I'm already getting excited. I'm going to find out who Hellcat is.
I would suggest that you check out Daredevil after Jessica Jones, because I think you will like Daredevil too. It's very much the same look, the same vibe.
Yeah.
It's not comic booky, really. It feels much more grounded. So, yeah, definitely check out Jessica Jones on Netflix. I mean, it could still, might not stick the landing. I don't know, but I'm pretty confident that it'll be good for the rest of the series. And Kilgrave is a really diabolical villain, so it's pretty cool that he's the villain that she's going up against.
Yeah, his power is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. It's very interesting too, because in the Preacher series, that's what the main character, Jesse Custer, he has the same ability.
Yeah.
But instead of like calling it the power of suggestion or whatever, they call it the voice of God, because he literally has like a god inside of him.
Yeah.
But it's basically the same thing. So, really cool stuff. Let's go ahead and move on. Talk about some predictions.
Do it.
Last week, the night before, you said 76, I said 68, actual 64. We have a review for that up on the site. Blake reviewed that for us, and he really liked it. He gave it an 8 out of 10. So,
oh boy,
I might see that this afternoon. I haven't decided yet. Legend, you said 54, I said 48, actual 60. So that one turned out to be better than I expected.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Secret in Their Eyes, you said 61, I said 46, actual 42. Yeah, so that one didn't do so hot.
Mm-mm.
And finally, The Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 2, you said 70, I said 67, actual 70.
Nailed it.
Right on the money there. We have a review for that up on the site as well.
I'm an expert when it comes to Hunger Games and Mockingjays. All right, next week we have The Good Dinosaur. It's the old Disney Pixar. Mm-hmm.
This is probably going to kill it. I'll say 84 on this one.
I'm going to say 82.
All right.
What do you actually think of that? What do you
I
think?
don't know.
Looks terrible to me.
It doesn't appeal to me at all. For some reason, I don't like the fact that the dinosaurs talk, because it's kind of like a switch where the humans don't talk and the dinosaurs do.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. Like, the animation doesn't really do it for me.
But that thing's probably gonna make a killing.
Oh,
Kids
yeah.
fucking love dinosaurs.
God. Kids love dinosaurs. I used to be obsessed with dinosaurs when I was
Who
little.
wasn't? Almost every single kid.
I know. It's weird, isn't it? That
Unless you're grown up in like a hyper Christian family,
yeah,
you are into dinosaurs.
yeah. I don't know what it is about that. I guess maybe because they're like real life monsters. I think the fact that they don't exist anymore may be alluring to kids.
Yeah.
And they're big.
Oh, they're huge. And they're so weird looking.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna get back into dinosaurs.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. I was thinking, man, I'm gonna go to like a museum today and see a dinosaur.
The rest of my day is booked with dinosaur research on the internet.
Oh, we also have Victor Frankenstein. This is the one with Daniel Radcliffe and is it James McAvoy in that too, I think?
Yeah.
What do you think about this one?
No, thank you. I'm gonna say like a 70.
I will say 68 on that one. I'm not interested in that either, actually.
Yeah.
For some reason, the Frankenstein stories never appealed to me. Never. I just never...
Never been into it.
No, I've never been into Frankenstein stuff. We also have Creed.
Yeah.
Not the band.
God, could you imagine if they came back?
Made a comeback. Creed's making a comeback.
That'd be terrible.
Let's see. Creed. The trailer makes it look good, so I will say 72 on Creed.
I'm gonna say 78. I've been pretty much seeing nothing but good things.
Are you interested in seeing Creed?
No, I'm not. I'm pretty much done with boxing movies. Like,
Yeah.
There's too many boxing movies. I'm sorry.
There is, and they're largely the same too.
Yeah, exactly. There's not much that you can do with boxing movies, so let's just take a break for a little bit. Let's take like a 10-year break.
I'll probably still check it out. I'll probably still check it out though, because I actually liked Rocky Balboa, the last Rocky, and so I think I'll probably like this too. And what's his name's directing it? Ryan Coogler.
Yeah. See, that's the main thing that's interesting to me.
Yeah.
Coogler directing and Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan, yeah. So I think it's going to be pretty good. So next week in limited release on the 27th, we have The Danish Girl. I actually don't have any interest in seeing this at all.
No.
Just, I don't know. Just it looks so... It looks like the definition of Oscar bait to me.
Yeah, it is.
Like, it looks like the most Oscar baity movie ever made.
I know. And and again, it's just come Oscar time, it's just going to be so much discussion about, oh my God, Eddie Redmayne.
But it's like, and
oh my
movies.
God, Eddie Redmayne. Oh, he's so unbelievable. And it's just
I would much rather see a movie like 52 Tuesdays over this, where that movie felt real and genuine.
Fake as shit. It's so fucking fake. And they're going to be like, oh, he's so amazing.
Yeah,
he's just
so could,
genuine as a woman.
As far as Oscar predictions go, I think that him at least getting a nomination is an absolute 100% lock.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I cannot imagine a world where he would not get nominated for that.
No, he totally will.
No matter how good or bad he is or whatever.
And the worst part is the Oscars are going to be like patting themselves on the back. Like, oh man, we're
so progressive.
We are so progressive. We made a really great choice. Bravo to everyone. And they're going to be completely blindsided for whatever reason by the insane amount of backlash that is going to be hitting them full in the face.
Also, on the 27th is Janice Little Girl Blue. That's the Janis Joplin documentary. Killing Them Safely, which is the documentary about non-lethal force used in police. It's about tasers, really, and it talks about how tasers are actually a lot more deadly than people believe. I think I read in the synopsis or something, or maybe it was a PR email that said that it was like 5,000 people are killed every year because of tasers or something. So it's documentary exploring that. I think that's pretty much it next week. Not a lot. They had the big ones, but because it's a holiday weekend, it's not a whole lot coming out.
Yeah.
On VOD next week, we have Killing Them Safely and Submerged. Submerged is a horror movie about a bunch of douchebag kids in a limo that flies off of a pier or something, and they're trapped in the bottom of the water in a limo.
So, what is that? A short film? I don't see
no,
there's that long.
Yeah, there's like more to it than that. Like they turn on each other, but what I don't understand is why they don't just break out one of the windows and swim to the top of the, just leave, the limo.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. You can't just.
You can't just hang out there forever.
They just look at each other and they're like, "Oh, this is our life now. Yeah. This is where we live. Let's figure it out."
Oh God, yeah, it looks pretty bad. That's it for VOD. That's all I have on that front. So yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of a rough week next week. On Blu-ray next week we have No Escape, which is the Owen Wilson, Pierce Brosnan one.
Okay.
Shaun the Sheep.
Okay.
American Ultra. I don't recommend that one. Wasn't a big fan. Ricky and the Flash. Landmine Goes Click. Definitely skip that one.
That was good.
Yeah. Blood and Lace from 1971. I don't think that might be a Scream Factory. Arrow is coming out with 1987's Blood Rage, which is
that just sounds fantastic.
Also, 1981's Ghost Story is getting a Blu-ray release. I can't remember if I saw that or not, but I'm told that it's very good. And that is going to be on Scream Factory as well. What do we have on the Criterion front next week?
We have two Criterions. First, I just want to mention something about Fandor, because Fandor has something that is quite remarkable. It's that they now have outwon the long sought-after French film that is 743 minutes long. It was originally intended as a television series by Jacques Rivette, but it's on Fandor streaming. And as of right now, if you sign up for Fandor, 60% off. So people that have been trying to track down Outone for ages, it's there. It's right there for you. You can watch it and schedule your own bathroom breaks and everything. You have complete control.
When you say it's 60% off, what is... So, like, with Fandor, I thought that was like a subscription thing. Is it like some movies you pay per movie or what?
No, I don't know. I guess I probably should have read a little bit more about that. I just saw 60% off. I was like, oh, yeah. Okay. Let me see if I can find out here.
I just read something on IndieWire. I believe it was about that movie. Because didn't it just play in... It had a run in theaters?
Yeah. So I think like a little over 13 hours long.
Yeah, and here it is. It had a 16-day run here in New York, and it grossed $23,855 in only 22 showtimes.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a lot. That's actually quite a lot. Considering it's a 13-hour epic.
And this is one of those films that's been like it's almost like one of those holy grail type situations for cinephiles, because you haven't been able to see it and to track it down, and now boom, right there it is. It's on Fandor, and so it looks like here you get I don't understand this because it says 60% off, but then when I click on it, it says 40% off. I don't know. It just says get 40% off for the next 12 months, so only $6 per month. I guess if you lock it in now. But I thought it was already $6 a month. I don't know.
Maybe that's what you're paying. Maybe you're paying the insider price.
I got that insider price. But I can't. I love Fandor so much.
Yeah, I hope that they come out with an app for the Apple TV, because then I will definitely pull the trigger on that.
Oh, I love it. Such a great eclectic mix. Okay, back to the Criterions. We got two. I've actually seen both of these. First off, we have D.A. Pennebaker's Bob Dylan, Don't Look Back from 1967. Obviously a documentary on Bob Dylan. It's quite good. Highly recommend it.
This is back when he was still doing his like folk.
Yeah, this was
his folky days, right?
Yeah, this was during his 65 tour, which would actually be the last as him. This is right before he went electric.
Okay.
So it's the tail end of that. This thing seems to be jam-packed with special features. I mean, my goodness. All sorts of documentaries, conversations, new interviews.
Documentaries about the documentary?
Documentaries about documentaries, alternative version of Subterranean Homesick Blues. Got a new interview with Patti Smith. All sorts of stuff in there. So I would recommend that one. And then the other one is Kurosawa's 1952 Ikaru in the old Blu-ray treatment.
Cool.
New documentaries on there. New English subtitle translation.
Oh, that's cool.
Updating those subtitles.
Get those subbies updated.
You got it.
All right. Well, I think that was going to wrap it up for the week. Be sure to send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. You can follow us on Twitter @FilmPulseNet and @FilmPulseKevin. And if you get a minute, take a look at our Patreon page, patreon.com/FilmPulse, and consider helping us out by becoming a subscriber. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.